One of those guys has a freaking bird's head. And there's actually quite a few quotable lines from this movie.
There
Hey
are.
guys, there are. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Welcome, happy October once again. I am here with Horror Movie Tea, Jess and Alyssa, to talk about Heretic, of course, which came out last year. One of the indie gems of last year, was getting quite a bit of buzz. And yeah, this is a rewatch for all of us. We've all seen this one a few times now. Setup is pretty straightforward, really. You have two young Mormon girls. Sophie Thatcher plays Sister Barnes, and you have Chloe East, who plays Sister Paxton. And at the start of the movie, they're kind of going to different houses in the neighborhood, trying to talk to people about religion, trying to sort of encourage them to come on board. And they drop off at creepy Hugh Grant's Mr. Reed's house. I told people years ago Hugh Grant was a creeper, that they should have listened to me. Appears at first to be like a willing participant in the whole thing, but it becomes clear that he's got his own thing going on, and it slowly becomes a bottle horror movie is a good term for it, because most of it is set in the one location, like his house, and you get lots of scenes in the dark. You get lots of kind of sort of mysteries or details. It's almost like a puzzle for the two girls to figure out, like how they can escape. They have to kind of question him and like, okay, what is he telling the truth about? What isn't he? That kind of thing, and kind of figure out strategy. So I think it's a bottle movie horror mixed with obviously like a satire, which is going into like themes of religion, kind of religious extremist or like fringe groups. Before we go any further, I do have a fact, which I don't know if you guys knew, but the two actresses used to be Mormons themselves. I don't know if you...
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and they actually brought research, to the film itself. So that was really cool.
Always nice when that happens.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it is. Okay, so what we'll do is, as always, we'll do some spoiler-free thoughts on what we think overall of the movie before we dive in, and we'll talk about some particular scenes and bring up some questions as well, because there is quite a lot of talking points from this movie. So I'll start with Alyssa. Or what did you think of Heretic?
Well, I think the people watching can gather that since we've all watched it multiple times, that I would hope that that's a good thing. But honestly, one of my favorite movies that have recently come out. I'm a sucker for movies that play around with like philosophy and different kind of questioning identity, society, different things like that. And I feel like this movie does it in like, it's weird because it's like it's confrontational but also not, because he's technically like confronting the two main characters, but it also feels kind of like it's confronting the watcher in a weird way. But anyways, it's like I feel like they did a really good job with kind of, it feels like a very well-rounded film. The end, which we'll talk about, I don't know. Yeah, it's well-rounded. It's like I kind of had thought that they were going to take it a different direction, but I'm not mad at the direction that they took it. Yeah, Hugh Grant. I mean, I saw him in like Notting Hill, and then there's like, I think there's a movie he did with Sandra Bullock, and like it's like I'm used to like Hugh Grant being the like, a nice looking guy, nice and just nice guy in general, and so it's like to take from that all the way to this extreme, like he does such a good job at being a creepy dude. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoy the movie, and yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. Well, I think just adding to your point there, and this is before I say what I think, but like probably one of the strong points of the movie is definitely how balanced it is about the religious themes, because I think typically with horror movies that cover religion, they normally take one side or the other.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you agree with this, but I actually don't think this film does. Like, because there's certain things that late on make it quite ambiguous anyway.
Mhm.
And I think also it just seems to be, in a way, it's kind of sending up extremism. Like, and that could be on either side almost. So
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because it's like at first it feels like they're siding on a less religious perspective on, you know, a scene that we can bring up later, so that way no spoilers, but then like one of the characters encounters the logic, and their points are just as valid as like the initial points. So yeah, they do a lot of good like back and forth, and yeah, like I don't see the movie taking a side on whether or not, it's like, first of all, whether or not religion should be, you know, a thing, and then also in addition to that, like what religion is, you know, the right one. Like it just keeps it very ambiguous, but that's why I like the film, because it is more philosophical and it gets you thinking. And you know, everyone can just come to their own conclusions.
I really enjoyed it as well. Like Alyssa said, if we each have seen it multiple times, that's generally a decent sign.
yeah.
I really also enjoyed a lot of the theological and societal debates in the movie. There were interesting and decent points on both sides. Some of the arguments were a little thinner than others, but it was all very interesting and thought-provoking. I also really enjoyed how the majority of the movie was all in that one location. It gave me slight callback vibes to like Hitchcock movies.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
Rear Window or Rope or Dial M for Murder, that kind of thing. They did really good tension in this movie. You felt uncomfortable.
Yes,
or at least I did with some of them. Obviously, there were a couple of movies got a movie moments, but all in all, it's a pretty solid film.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really strong movie, like, and definitely a movie that bears rewatching. Like, and a movie which the least you know going in is the better. I mean, obviously, I think that happened with me. Like, I definitely knew then going in Hugh Grant was going to be kind of like the villain of the movie.
Oh yeah.
But apart from that, you know, I didn't, and I knew religion was a theme. But apart from that, I didn't really know much about what exactly was going to take place. But I think it's a very strong movie. Like you, I do appreciate a good, as I said, bottle style movie. I really like the look of the house in the movie. Like, it has a really eerie feel. Lots of kind of claustrophobic sort of tight hallways, which I think are quite effective. There's just something about it being a more traditional old-fashioned house that for some reason makes it a bit more intimidating. They a little bit into the plot as well than it is a more old-fashioned type house. I think you've got 3 great leads in the movie, because it is worth giving the girls credit as well, because I think a lot of people have been, oh my god, what a great performance from Hugh Grant, and I can understand why, because it is very different from what he normally does, and he is a great complex villain, because like you said, I mean, even though he's very much a villain and what he's doing is wrong, you know, like obviously he does have these points, and he has these legit sort of complaints and critiques, but you know, it's 3 great leads really. I think, you know, the girls are very well cast. Obviously, I've seen Sophie Thatcher in quite a few things now, and I think she's always very good. This is the first time I've seen Chloe East actually, and I thought she was very good. And I sort of believed in their chemistry and them as like a friendship almost, and
Yeah.
and I can't really talk about it until spoilers, but you know, I think I really like the subversion of them as characters, how they start out, and then there's sort of a subversion later on. Good sort of horror direction, and as I said before, it is sort of this puzzle, this riddle of them having to figure out kind of what is a lie, or like how are they gonna almost talk their way out of getting out of the house because he has all the power. And that's what, like, when you see some of the things that sort of come out, and it's like, okay, this stuff is entertaining and it makes you think about these things, but really the crux of the tension is just the fact that he has all the power and he has all the knowledge, and he's the one who's kind of up to a point in control of what's going to happen to them. And so it's almost, the horror is them not knowing, kind of thing, what exactly this guy is up to, and what's he going to do. Like, is he playing with us? Will he let us go once he's had his fun, or will he not?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So there's some good sharp sort of black humor, which I always enjoy. You know, some good lines. A laugh out loud line was the Spider-Man line, which was really great, and we can talk more about that. And I think my one complaint, and I think Alyssa might have hinted at it, is I do think the last chunk of the movie, I think they do a little too much. Like, it's almost like before that, it was almost like less is more, and you had this satisfying, like, slow burn type pace, and there was some fun scenes with like the satire, and it's not like I dislike everything in the back half. I just think they tried to do too much, and
it feels weaker.
Yeah, and that maybe having, I don't know, a little bit more of like a slightly generic horror moment in the back half. Like, maybe it just didn't quite vibe with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, like they didn't take the direction that I thought, and I honestly would have liked it more if they had kept it more ambiguous at the end. Because then it's like that, you know, whoever survives, if there's any survivors, they're gonna be fucked up for the rest of their life, because they're like, what did I just go through? Where it's like, yeah,
I mean, they're still gonna
feel like
that anyway.
I mean, they still, but it's like, you know, they know. I mean, they
but a bit more questions, than they have answers.
Yeah, no spoilers, but it's like, you know, they kind of like bring up what his motive is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was a bit of an eye roll.
So you think they over-explained that a bit, whereas it would have worked better if they didn't so much.
Yeah, they brought a particular hypothesis into it that was a big ol' eye roll.
Okay.
They did kind of retcon it toward the end, but it still was like, you didn't have to go that way.
About the opening scene with the girls before they get to the house, because one thing I appreciated was that we did get to know them a little bit before, because some films might just start with them coming to the house, or you might have a montage or something, but I quite appreciate we get to know them. And as I said, it sort of sets up some like the friendship and the chemistry, and one thing I noticed this time watching it is then scenes like that, I think they are setting up things for later a bit, because the, you know, like the talk about like the sex talk. I mean, I think that's almost setting up then Sister Paxton is the more nervous one and the more kind of inexperienced one, perhaps. I mean, that's something which is hinted at a bit in later with Sister Barnes. Then, you know, she maybe has had a bit more experience with that stuff, but like, I think that's quite a good setup, and quite a good setup for the characters, because also when they first get in the house later on, Sister Paxton is definitely the more nervous of the two initially. So Yeah, it's quite a good opening scene because they even bring back the pants stuff, because when they do the pants thing, I was like, well, what? Why are they doing that in this movie? But I guess it does come back into play later on. So
I appreciated it for the most part. It was a little cringy at times, but it definitely gives you a sense of who they are as characters and the relationship between the two. And it helps us to kind of care more about them. I feel like a lot of movies that just have you dive right in, a lot of times I'm sitting there, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sitting there like, why should we care about these characters? Apart from the fact that they're the main characters. So it was nice to get a little bit of time with them before they get into the dangerous area, where we kind of see how they are, who they are to each other. And I feel like it helped make it a little more rounded out.
Movie really like represents people who are in different religious stages of their life. So and from their conversation you can also pick that up. So like Sister Barnes is like they both were born into the religion, but for Sister Barnes it's like I don't think is quite as sold on the religion, because she kind of like she mentions about like doing things that isn't quite like to the book Mormonism. So it's like I feel like she's born into the religion. She's not really majorly questioning it, but she's not necessarily like 100% sold. I kind of picked up on. And then for Sister Paxton, I mean, she mentioned, having proof that there is a God. And so she, even though she's born into the religion, she's a lot more sold on the idea because she's seeing, proof of God around her that reaffirms her beliefs. But yeah, definitely like she is the more naive of the characters. But also I feel like this movie is a good case study, or maybe not case study, but like POV for like how polite can you be until you're like, okay, I'm done with this. This is enough. But like for Hugh Grant, I feel like his character, I feel like could embody two different people. First is, the person that has been questioning their beliefs and have been like, finding flaws in religion. And I could picture, especially in the beginning where it doesn't reaffirm whether or not he believes, that could be like, someone coming out of religion. And then like towards the end, it'd be like, well, he was kicking around trying to figure out like what religion he believes in, and then he just dove into the extreme. So I feel like he kind of embodies like technically two different people.
Message on the back of the bench, size always matters. Okay, movie, that's a bit on the nose.
A little bit.
Them just talking about it was enough, really, because girls that age, especially if you're quite curious and inexperienced, you probably would talk about that stuff. So yeah, I don't think we needed the neon sort of sign on the back of
I just wanted to hammer that home.
Yeah.
Well, it's like them talking about how like, well, that is a thing that is brought up about like, different sizes or whatever, like of like the condoms, like the magnums like actually aren't larger or whatever. But I think what they're trying to, like, especially if you listen to the conversations that the girls have throughout the movie, they tend to like question things a lot, like the like with the condoms. It's like they're like questioning, is like, is that actually true? I don't know. And then they have like more conversations where it's like they're skeptical enough to question what they're saying as long as it's not pertaining to their religion. And then of course, like, once they get in the house with Hugh Grant, then they get a little bit more shaken up with that.
I really like the shot of them going up the stairs, like
Yes.
those really like up and down, and them talking. That was a really fun shot. Yeah. So, but yeah, we get to the house, to Mr. Reed, his introduction, and again, Hugh Grant plays it so well, and I think the way they're like writing him. I'm also a bit nerdy about the attire in this movie because like I think his sort of like dodgy sweater that he's got on, I think it's almost like this very old man type sweater, and it's almost like it's meant to set him up as a little bit of a joke that like you wouldn't think of him as a threat, and I think that's what. Yeah, and I think that's what they do well with him early on because Hugh Grant is naturally quite charismatic and he's quite good at like comedy. I think you see that where he is kind of charming them a bit with some of his gags.
Yeah.
Like he really goes to town on the pie puns.
Yeah, honestly, I got that feeling not just from how he was dressed, but like the room that they were in initially.
Yeah.
The front room.
Like the
it all seemed
mess.
yeah, it all seemed like cold, but like he was trying to bring in fake warmth into it. Like it was all fake. It was all a front. And there were so many glaring red flags.
So many red flags.
So many. They ignored all the red flags.
Still red flags that I feel like they haven't answered, which I'll bring up later. But yeah.
Well, I'll say on that, I think that is partly an audience thing, though. Like we're watching a horror movie, so you kind of know that he's going to be a bad guy. Something. I'm pretty sure if you were in that situation, you wouldn't necessarily think that way because. You know, some people are just weird and just have weird stuff in their house. And I think that's what's quite clever about him is...
Yeah. I mean, the biggest red flag is the fact that, like, the wife that he was claiming to have, like, wasn't coming out immediately to say hi.
And you're not hearing anything.
Right.
He's supposedly in the kitchen doing things, and you're not hearing anything. They walk in...
Or even a hi from the
metal in the walls. Is that okay? I'm sorry. Why is there metal in the wall?
That was also a red flag. Yeah.
And you got to do something by flipping over an outlet.
But hang on. A lot of this is no. Hang on. I think you're assuming a lot because a lot of this is based on is he telling the truth about certain things? Like is he telling the truth about there being metal in the walls? You know, that could be a lie. Or certainly for a while it could be a lie.
Right.
So I think that's why a lot of this works. And I think a lot of it is, you know, because is he telling the truth about the lock? Is he telling the truth about, is there really a back door? Or is he lying to them to kind of get them into a situation?
Yeah. I just feel like it worked situationally because they were so trusting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think they necessarily were trusting. They were more trying. I feel like they were more trying to be polite. Like maybe they were like a little bit trusting of him, but they were also like they had. Well, okay, they had two different motivations. I feel like the first motivation is they're trying to actually convert him, and that was Sister Paxton's like first convert. But also I think, you know, that they had a motivation to, you know, it's like whenever you're talking to a stranger, you have a certain front that you're supposed to have, especially if you're representing your religion. You want to show them, hey, like we are, you know, good people. And so they're also going to be very conscious about that, about like not being rude or not like doing something that might make him, you know, be like, you know what, you guys are terrible, you know, I'm not going to join your religion or whatever. So yeah, I feel like that is honestly the biggest contributing factor. And trust is like a very small part of that.
Or well, not really in the kitchen, but like I think when they first mentioned the wife, I think, doesn't he say something like she's in the other room? So I think initially she's not meant to be in the kitchen. So I think it's just that kind of thing of, slowly he's luring them in almost. So I think it'll get to a certain point where they're kind of inside and they're kind of in a situation. So even if his lies are starting to seem quite thin, maybe it doesn't matter at that stage because he's got the upper hand anyway.
Yeah, I guess because he mentioned the pie, I just assumed that he was inferring the kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I 100% agree that was his motivation on is like he's just trying to say enough for them to be like, oh, okay, and then like go in and then him slowly manipulate them to do what he's trying to do.
Yeah. And I think some of it is a horror movie thing. And I think when it's the setup to a horror movie and they kind of have to get in the house for the horror movies to start,
Yeah,
I think you have
That's
to
why I
give
said it's movie's got a movie.
Yeah. But it is quite well done. Like, I don't think, especially since they're young girls and everything, and obviously they go to lots of houses like this. And, for me, I'm not so caught up on some of the weird stuff in his house. Because as I said, sometimes people just have weird stuff in their house. And I mean, I think the movie plays it quite well as, is he just a weird old guy? Or is he something a bit more than that?
Like Sister Paxton was really the one kind of driving both of them to go inside, and she is the more like naive one. I feel like Sister Barnes was like, well, I need to accompany her and just kind of like there to have her back, but then also like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like we kind of, whenever we're put in certain situations, we're like, we'll just go along with it for now and see how this plays out first.
Be quite subtle about the way he sneaks in certain things to the conversation. And, and again, it's that thing of when he makes this awkward comment about like how Sister Barnes's dad died, and again, is that just a bit of an off joke or is there more? And then, but also when he's bringing up fast food and stuff, again, it's a way of him being a little bit charming and playful, but also I think that is meant to set up some of the themes of the movie with like the capitalism stuff and even with Spider-Man, because that sort of fits into that, and that also fits into the stuff about, there's an irony in that moment where it's him who knows that it comes from a philosopher originally. So it sort of fits into the idea of iteration. I didn't know that quote originally came from a philosopher. I would have thought it came from Spider-Man.
Yeah, I had heard a few different things from Voltaire, but I didn't realize that was one of his quotes.
Yeah, so that was laugh out loud moment for sure.
Yeah.
Flips in the question about polygamy as well, which is question their faith a little bit. So he is quite subtle about the way he's slowly working these things in and kind of picking holes a bit, but he's still making it seem quite natural.
I feel like that's his approach, is how, I mean, what manipulative people do in general, but I know some people that are super into like religious conversion, that's also like a tactic. I mean, technically people who are non-religious too, when they're trying to like convert someone, it's like, I feel like it makes more sense for them to start off with the more obvious questions and questions that, the person might be more expecting or used to, and then kind of like dig deeper.
And he does it so well too, because he pushes them on a really uncomfortable topic, and then he like pulls it back and is like, "That's a very good point. I just wanted to see your argument."
The way that he like recovers,
and he like
from it.
He recovers and he smooths it over and puts them more at ease again.
Yeah.
So he keeps doing that all throughout. He makes them uncomfortable and then tries to smooth it over again. And then draws them back into a different debate, like a different topic.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I'm sure I don't know a whole lot about cults, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's a cult leader tactic too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'd be on par with the movie,
Maybe he
so
would have been really good at it.
yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the point of the movie where things are slowly getting tense, and there's some really good close-ups on their face, like the close-up of his face at one point, and it's a little later on, but I really like the close-up where Sister Paxton is like sweating on her neck. That's a really good close-up. Sister Paxton kind of has to try and reason with him and say, okay, you've given us some good points to think about. We'll go away and think about them, and that's the thing, like he's putting them in that position where like they have to say things just to get out of there, so it's almost like they have
They
to
don't
try
know
and
how to
talk him
argue it.
down.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like, you know what? We are going to bring these questions to the next one up the chain.
because I really like the moment where she calls some of his stuff out. She makes a very good point about Israel. Obviously, you've got the line that I quoted at the start about, like, one of them has a bird head, and so yeah, she makes
And the fact that he just didn't even mention the Holocaust or anything, just like gloss over that.
Yeah, scene in the hallway, which I think is when they're first trying to find this back door, but like it's when they appeared to see him, it just standing there, which is really eerie. And I wasn't sure if it was actually him or like a statue, because he does have a lot of weird junk in his house, so it could have been.
Yeah.
But it's playing with you. I think it's playing with like, is he just standing there like freaking them out, or like is it not him? So
yeah, like this movie does such a good job with uncomfortable moments. It's like it's an interesting ride, but not necessarily a fun ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they really play on the silence a lot throughout the movie, which I really appreciate.
Also feels very like constricting and claustrophobic, between the house, but also the limitation of choices that they have. Because it's like, they're like, oh, we can just leave. And he's like, oh, sure, you can leave, but
you have to go this way.
Yeah, you have to go the way that I'm telling you to.
At one point requesting to use the phone, but they're talking more about a traditional phone because he's claiming that mobiles don't work in there. So it's like, it's just funny, and he doesn't have one, of course, because it's modern times. But or he says he doesn't have one. Again, that could be another lie, but it's believable that he doesn't have one.
Yeah, we're not sure if it's a lie or not, because later on he offers Elder Kennedy to use his phone.
Yeah,
that's true.
What I was thinking.
Yeah. It's just it's so crazy. Yeah, it's like there is a lot of stuff that they keep ambiguous, but then other things that they like definitely like give you. But the one thing that I'm like, okay, I need answers is, why are the lights timed, and why, like, the deadbolt? I mean, I guess on the deadbolt I can see if he's trying to like entrap, but it's like, why are the lights specifically like timed to go out after a certain time? Or is that just to like psych them out? I don't know. It's like, I need to know.
I mean, I can't really answer that. Like, I've only heard that some old-fashioned houses do work like that. So I think that's what I meant about, I think it being that kind of house plays more into the film. So
yeah,
I don't know
I'm
enough about those houses.
BS about the bolt, though. The lock on the door.
Yeah, I mean
that's a hazard.
Well, yeah, but again, I think that's, I mean, assuming, because obviously he's, we get to the end, we learn he's entrapped other women, but like, I think if this is a thing he does regularly, then I guess he's maybe set that up. So
I think it's just for him to be able to, not allow them to leave, but also, by giving them hey, it will unlock, but just after this, X amount of time, that kind of forces them to be like, okay, we'll continue listening to you, and he can continue to manipulate the cards in his favor. One of those movies that you have to watch it multiple times. Then I feel like even though I've watched it 3 or 4 times, I've probably missed stuff. So yeah, it's like I love movies that don't spoon feed you stuff. And I think maybe that's why the ending feels kind of weak, because it feels like they did kind of spoon feed like what his motivation was.
Door scene where like it's like the it's almost playing on their faith. But I like that scene because the way he divides them, and for the first time, and again it flips around a bit where, because when we get later on, and we'll talk about the stuff with the girl in the thing, but like in that scene, it was kind of funny that at one point, Sister Paxton is like, hey, look, yeah, she moved. And it's almost like Sophie Thatcher's character is like, well, I don't agree, but let's just get the fuck out of here. And like, I would be more...
Like, what does it matter?
Yeah. But at the same time, I get it, because it would freak you out if, like, but let's... But yeah, the door thing, which is kind of an old sort of game or parable in a way, like I think that I quite like that, the way that divided the two characters.
And then the way that they were able to join back together. What did you I kind of thought the Monopoly analogies were fun. It's like, at the one point, like I think the girls were completely valid in saying like this is kind of insulting
a little bit.
But it's like at the same time, it's like it was like really funny. It's like this is so true, because Monopoly has so many different versions.
Yeah,
it really does.
It's so appropriate for them to be like, hey, let's just pull out Monopoly.
Yeah, and I think we obviously get the music example, and again, I'm learning so much from this film, because I hadn't heard that story about the lawsuit, which I'm guessing is based on truth, and then another lawsuit. But again, that's something with music, they say, that. And again, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because as long as you put your own spin on it, it doesn't really matter. Like, and with the
people
case
sample different tunes all the time and use it in their music. Like,
well, and it's like as people say, there's no such thing as original thought anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like you're taking, more than likely, you're taking an idea that has been done over and over. But as long as you put your own spin, your heart into it, stuff like that, is like, depending on how you repackage it, it can feel new again. So, yeah.
Well, it's a bit like this movie in a way. Like, obviously, this kind of movie has been done a lot, but I think the twist on it is making it this sort of religious kind of satire and debate, and just putting this little twists on it that make it feel a bit different from what we've had before. But I remember watching it for the first time in the cinema when he whipped out that Monopoly board, because I had no idea that was coming, and it was at that point I was like, oh, okay, this movie is going places, and I'm really into it. So
is the Bob Ross Monopoly game that got me.
that was really good. Because definitely he's got points, but also at the same time it is a very simplistic argument in some ways, and it's like he does have valid points, but at the same time, as they bring up, he's also not bringing up the differences between them. So and also, I mean, it's something I was going to ask you guys a bit about later, but like, can you really link the two in some ways? Like, is it a valid comparison, religious and then these other kind of, and obviously he does link them, but it's debatable. Religion is such a different thing to, kind of entertainment or games, so
it's like, at least it's like the Monopoly comparison fits to a degree, but it's like
Mhm.
really religion is, you know, it was created, like each religion that's created, it was created based off of what was essentially needed at that time. And so that's why you have, you know, all of these different gods that, you know, have the same birthday as Jesus, all of that. It's like, you know, the people that are creating this new religion are aware of the gods that, you know, and their lore, like that happened, or mythos or whatever that happened previously, but they're like, how do we repackage this to like I know, for example, like I am not religious myself, but I find historical religion, or like religion history, like really interesting. And anyways, the whole reason why Christianity came about is because people that were in Judaism, they're like, we don't like the fact that we have to do sacrifices and we have to do all of this stuff to cleanse ourselves of our sins. And so Christianity was like, well, what can we do to avoid having to sacrifice an animal? And they're like, Son of God, Jesus, if we sacrifice, you know, the Son of God, he cleanses us of our sins. So, you know, then we don't have to sacrifice animals anymore. So it's like, you know, each religion that is created is kind of a refresh of what came before to help fit, you know, what what people needed at that time.
And the arguments that Hugh Grant's character is making in this film is, yeah, there are certain people who do treat religion as a bit of a capitalist sort of venture, because, you know, I think sometimes when you get people approaching you in like restaurants and they're trying to, like, you know, talk to you, it's like, well, no, I'm here to eat. I don't want to be bothered, you know. It's like, if I come up to you on the street, or you're on the street, then that's one thing. Or if I seek you out, it's, you know. And again, it's getting a bit into, like, you know, the Mormons in this film, is it right then they've arranged the meeting, so that makes it a bit better, but like, yeah, is it right then they're kind of touting for business almost, if you want to see it that way.
And if we want to compare it to capitalism, I mean, there's the healing preachers or whatever, who actively make money to pray over people to heal them.
The faith healers.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't remember the label.
It's a good tangent.
Got you off the rails.
I also really like the scene where the Topher Grace comes to the door, because Topher Grace is in this movie. Really like that scene as well, and the tension of it, where they're trying to slide the carpet slowly under the door, or them looking under the thing, and the film's just playing with us, because you have that moment where he comes back and, like, obviously Hugh Grant think, oh no, he's on to me a bit, and he has that pause where he says, I've only got one question, and he leaves the pause. Have you read this book? And yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah,
but it's playing with you. It's very well done.
At the very end, when Sister Paxton sees the butterfly on her finger, I feel like, because it's like we just see her go off into the forest, we don't really see, you know, what happens after. So I know there's people have thrown out a couple of theories that either the butterfly is supposed to be like Sister Barnes, or that's supposed to show that no, actually Sister Paxton died there, and that was like herself that she was seeing. Or it could be just like her, like, having hope. I don't know. I kind of took it as she probably survived, but what she was seeing was like Sister Barnes. Like her manifesting, you know, Sister Barnes near her. Because since she is the only one that made it out. But I don't know. I just wanted to get your thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that stuff didn't cross my mind, and I hadn't read that stuff, so because that's what I was talking about. That's one of the things which I think is ambiguous about like the ending, because it's even implied the butterfly might be in her head, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like it might not really, because I think it partly goes to when they're talking about the butterfly theory and that stuff. So I think
It's the comfort that she needed in that moment, potentially.
yeah, and I think maybe there's just little hints, even though ultimately I think you're meant to think that this so-called miracle isn't real. Like I think there's just little hints where, okay, well maybe it could be. Like there's just, they're leaving it open a little bit. But yeah, I mean I hadn't really heard any of those theories, so I thought either it's then the butterfly is there and it's referring back to that, or it's not really there but she's choosing to see it. But
Yeah, well, it's like I almost picture it as almost her seeing the butterfly and believing that she sees the butterfly, but then them showing the audience that the butterfly is not actually there.
yeah, because it obviously disappears very fast, so I got the impression that maybe it was in her head.
Yeah.
So Jess, do you have any ideas on that?
I feel like it was more the comfort that she needed in that moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was her way of telling herself, I'm out, I'm safe, there's hope. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like Sister Barnes is always with me. She helped me. I'm safe now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that's what's good about having an ambiguous bit like that at the end, is it could be something very simple like what you've just said. And I think without really thinking about it, I'm probably in a similar place to you. But yeah, you could also speculate, like clearly other people have.
Take it as far as like, does it even matter that the audience knows for sure whether or not it was real? And the truth is, no, probably not. Nope. So
It's
like
like
the
what
meaning
she
to
had said
her.
before.
Yeah.
It's how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
That's the point of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's working thematically, but also it's kind of a good ambiguous thing for the audience to go away and talk about. You know, you're right. To the character, it doesn't matter because she's not going to find out any different, and in that moment, she's going to feel comfort. But we can obviously go away and maybe speculate a bit. Because yeah, I hadn't even heard that stuff that Alyssa just said at the end of the movie, with all the like him trying to prove, okay, this is a miracle, and that. As I said, that is where it gets a little bit messy, and they're trying to do too much. And I think just the whole thing feels a bit like a little bit of a generic horror movie, a little bit, and.
Yeah.
There's definitely things I like. You know, I definitely like the light bulb moment from Sister Barnes and it's Sister Paxton, sorry, like her light. And this is what I was talking about with the subversion, because of how during the movie Sister Barnes has been the more confident one and proactive a bit more. So I like the arc that Sister Paxton has.
Yeah.
And about how, but it subverts it a bit, because you might have said if one's going to get out of this, it's going to be the other one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I do like that. Then she has that arc and figures stuff out and is the one who escapes. But
yeah, and the fact that she's like spot on with like them faking the miracle, and then like I don't know, what did you think about the control stuff? Because like, you know, on the one hand, I'm like, you know, if you really shake the crap out of religion and the one thing were to fall out remaining is like, okay, control, sure, you know, like I do agree with that, but it's like the fact that they spelled it out. I was like let the audience be able to like figure that
Honestly,
out. But I don't know.
that made me feel a little bit better about them bringing in the simulation hypothesis. Because honestly, when they brought the simulation thing into it, I was like, and now they lost me. So that honestly kind of helped me bring it back a little bit.
Well, I feel like, at least for me, I thought that Mr. Reed was like just throwing that out there, but then like Sister Paxton very quickly was like, no, I don't believe that. And at least in my mind, I'm like, okay, that theory is bloop, gone away.
Yeah. But I do feel like they were trying to like shoehorn in a bit too much, and they really should have kept it a little more vague.
Yeah. Like I'm okay if they're saying like, hey, the end game is control, then sure, but it's the fact I don't know. It's just like how they, and maybe there was a non-ambiguous way for them to do it that I would have liked better, but I don't know.
I think, yeah, because this is a good point, which probably actually I hadn't thought about, but like, I think part of the thing is, at the end of the day, it's a horror movie, and at the end of the day, Mr. Reed is out of his frigging mind. I mean, no matter what good arguments he's making,
he's a serial killer. Like this is just his method.
Yeah, he's a monster. So, and sometimes in horror movies, it makes it more scary if you don't know a monster's motivation, you know, and you don't, because obviously we don't really know. I mean, we do in a way, but we don't fully know why he chose to go down this path of doing this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we only know that he's very cynical about religion, and that has kind of manifested itself in these ways, but we don't actually know that much about the reason he chose to start doing all this stuff.
Was manipulating them. I feel like if they just continued down that path of him like continually trying to like manipulate her, which I mean, you know, he did, but it's like, you know, if you're continuously manipulating someone, why are you manipulating them? It's like, oh, so you can control them and have them do what you want them to do. It's like, I don't feel like they had to be like so blatant about spelling that out.
Another question I have, because this is a point in the cinema I remember, it's like, no, if you do this movie, you're gonna lose me. But it's the bit where he suggests then the Thatcher character might be a synthetic life form, basically, and it's sort of ironic, isn't it? Because of one of the roles she's recently done as well. But I won't say what movie, because it's
he's basically implying that she's an NPC.
Yeah,
that was. I mean, you know, I took it as you know, he's just trying to shake Sister Paxton, but I feel like her rebuttaling and being like, no, that's a contraceptive. At least for me, it kind of closed the book on him like throwing that out there. But yeah, I just took it as he was just trying to shake her and make her doubt as many things as she could. That way he could continue to try and control her.
Yeah, because again, that goes back to the earlier scene, you know, when they're talking about sex and stuff. And so I think that does confirm for me that Sister Paxton maybe
I see what you mean.
Sorry, Barnes has been, well, either sexually active or she at least is prepared in case, you know, it does happen.
Like, because he even asked her, have you seen, you know, someone of your religion with using contraceptive? And she's like, no. But it's like, that would make sense why then Sister Barnes would probably choose a contraceptive that goes under your skin. So that way there's not really any physical evidence that she's using it.
A sign that maybe he's getting a bit flustered and a little bit desperate at this point, maybe as well, you know, because he's struggling to keep the game going almost. Jess has got to go, everyone. So before you go, Jess, do you want
Mm-hmm.
to give a quick rating on the movie, and then me and Alyssa will wrap up afterwards?
Yeah. I give this one a 7.5 for
Okay.
entertainment.
Very good.
Pretty
Yeah.
It's
decent for you.
definitely worth a. For me, yes, it's pretty decent. It's definitely worth at least a couple of watches. I
Yeah.
love the debate in it. It's a very interesting, thought-provoking movie. They shoot it very well. It definitely feels uncomfortable and almost claustrophobic in certain areas. So you can definitely feel a lot of the tension.
Yeah. And I guess
Mhm.
with maybe a stronger ending, it probably would have been even higher.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. No, that's fair. Barnes saves Paxton, and that's why Paxton escapes. Do you think that's the movie a little bit, maybe implying that it could, like, miracle could be happening a bit, or is it just that it's a moment? Because it sort of works from the point of view, okay, it's her last act, so she's saving her. But, like, I don't know, I thought a moment like that might be leaving it a bit ambiguous, like, because obviously at that point she's been down for a long time and assumed dead, so it's maybe a bit of a stretch that she would still be alive. So I wasn't
Honestly, I hadn't thought of it like that because I took it as, she's using her remaining strength to save her friend.
Yeah,
Because it's like, I feel like, especially when someone um goes in such a violent manner, especially if it's a case where like your adrenaline might be pumping, that there might be like a last, fight for life. And so that's kind of how I took what she was doing. But it being a miracle, I did that honestly didn't cross my mind, but that's a very interesting theory. That's what makes this movie so great, is like there's just so many scenes that seem fairly clear cut, but it's like if you think about it, it could go a couple of different ways.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I think, yeah, that's about it, really. Another fun fact I have, which is that the version of Knocking on Heaven's Door over the end credits is actually Sophie Thatcher singing that.
Oh, very
That's fun.
cool.
Yeah, because I remember when I saw it in the cinema, I wanted to see who was singing it because I hadn't heard that version before. So, yeah, it's Sophie Thatcher. So
Oh,
she can do it all, apparently.
apparently.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
good stuff. And I think, I mean, there was one wrap-up question in a way, but I think we've sort of covered it. But just about the two girls and their beliefs going, like, before they go into the house, because I think there's definitely some doubt cast when they're in the house. But, like, do you think that at least one of them going in is having a crisis of faith, and that maybe they're questioning whether they are religious? Like maybe the Sophie Thatcher character more.
I mean, especially with her, like the way that she rebutted him, I don't think she was truly shaken that much. But I mean, I feel like whenever you are confronting someone to that type of degree where you are like essentially changing their identity, because for a lot of people who are uh especially like a lot more religious, that is a part of who they are. And so if you are rebutting their religion and trying to make them change their mind, then they also have to change their identity and break that down. And so
Yeah,
people are going to cling to whatever they think is, justifies, their identity. So honestly, as big of an effort as he made, I feel like both of them, if they both had come out of it, living, I don't think either one of them would have changed their mind. Now, maybe if like Out of both of them, though, I could see Sister Barnes um changing most likely, but if I'm being honest, though, I don't think either one of them would have actually changed.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I can see what you're saying. Yeah, I think I did read it a little bit the other way. Like Sister Barnes was maybe the more cynical and having doubts,
Yeah.
and that's part of what we see at the start. And then some of that stuff naturally came out. For a lot of the movie is the more clinical one, like the more bottom line one of, okay, screw this, we've got to get out, like no matter what. And like whereas I don't know, maybe Sister Paxton is a bit more drawn on this stuff because she feels quite sort of defensive, but it could just be a different in personality. They have different approaches.
Like Sister Paxton, I could see she's probably going to ride or die, like believe in her religion regardless. And probably be more defensive, but like with Sister Barnes, I don't know, I feel like for her, even though she isn't following the religion to a T, and she, I feel like, has some level of doubts, I feel like for her character it almost seems like it's easier for her to just continue to believe than not. Cool that they had Sister Paxton have the growth that she had, but it also means that we didn't really see Sister Barnes have any like growth. So it's like, it makes it a little bit harder to pinpoint what she would do.
What are you gonna rate Heretic?
It's like, even though I do have some nitpicks about it, it's like I do really like how they do a lot of. I think I'm just gonna go with an 8. Like it's definitely, it's a movie I like watching again and again, because you always like pick out something new. Also, like things that you thought you picked out and the first couple of watchings is like, if you watch it again, you can sometimes like get a different viewpoint. So I don't know. It's a fun movie, so I will continue to rewatch it.
I'm going to agree with the 8 because I think it's a very strong movie, and it definitely is in its favor. Then it works on a rewatch, and like you pick up new things. And today I was definitely noticing certain things that are set up earlier in the movie and then paid off. So I think that always impresses me. 3 really strong performances, very intense at times, some funny standout moments. It's almost like I could go a bit lower just because of the end stuff, but I mean, even the end stuff, there's things in it I like, but it's I think overall it's maybe the end is stopping it a bit from being like a really great movie, but I would still choose to give it an 8, but maybe a slightly lower 8, an 8 where there's 1 or 2 question marks, but I think I'm giving it the 8 because it does hold up so well on repeat viewings. Heretic, let us know what you guys think of it. This has been a meaty discussion. Let us know what you think of any of the things we've been talking about and the movie in general. And so no pressure, Alyssa, but because this is going out in October, what are your plans for October on your channel? Do you have a set lineup?
We do, but I don't remember offhand what it is. We're covering Halloween relevant movies.
Okay, fair enough. So just a general plug then, obviously check out their channel, Horror Movie Tea. I'll put the link in the description. I know you've also got a Teespring. Also talk about the monthly game streams you do.
Yeah, so on the first of every Saturday, we will play a scary game. Oftentimes it's like me and Jess playing, or it's either myself or Jess playing, and it's popcorn or peanut gallery. And sometimes we'll have guests, but yeah, the live streams are always a wild time because we are both chickens. So yeah.
I will be doing another review with Jess and Alyssa for October, so look out for that one later in the month. So yeah, thanks everyone. Again, like and subscribe. Share me out on social media. You can support me monetarily a few different ways. There's patreon.com/boardnow. So you get a bunch of like movie or TV commentaries on that one. You also get kind of some clips that aren't on YouTube. So those are exclusive to Patreon, and some early access stuff as well, like maybe a few days before it goes on YouTube. Another way is channel membership, and there's 3 different tiers at that. And I'll just say some of the same stuff that's on Patreon is on channel membership, but there will be some stuff that's also exclusive to channel membership. So that's another way you can support me. I'll link that in the description, or you can just make a one-off donation. The best way is probably at PayPal. Or of course super chat. You can do that in this video. Hit the super chat button if you want to make a donation. So yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for everything. Keep watching scary movies. We hope you are enjoying October. And just remember, kids, no matter who said it first, with responsibility comes great power. See you guys.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. Are you interested in learning about our Savior, Jesus Christ? Hi. Good afternoon. Hi, are you My name is Sister Barnes, and oh my gosh. Are you interested in learning more about the Church of Jesus Christ?
Come on in.
We can't come inside unless another woman is present.
My wife is home. Does that count?
Great.
You like pie?
Yeah.
My wife has pie in the oven.
I can tell that you are a very spiritually curious person.
I think it is good to be religious, to find your faith in a doctrine you actually believe.
Well, our work here is done.
I will go and check on the pie.
So sleep, silent angel.
You fit through this? You're crazy. We just need to go home.
I won't keep you if you wish to leave. But I want you to choose which door to go through based on your faith.
What does this have to do with us leaving?
Everything.
I think that we're being studied.
It will make your hearts beat faster. It may even make you want to die. Do not be afraid. You will witness a miracle.